controversy is ending with controversy.
No, Mike, that was so not right.
I don't think the penalty was very fair. Are you joking? It's the most ridiculous thing I've heard in my life.
Formula One's rulemakers are under fire. The FIA, the body trusted to keep order, now faces drivers demanding answers, fans flooding timelines with outrage, and teams questioning justice itself. From race-changing penalties to public rebellions, the chaos is spreading through the paddock. Stay tuned as we uncover the moments that turned Formula One against its own rulers. Let's start with the chaos that exposed everything: inconsistent stewarding. The clearest example came at the Dutch Grand Prix 2025, a rain-soaked weekend where Williams' Carlos Sainz found himself at the center of controversy. Mid-race, he was handed two separate 5-second penalties.
We do get a penalty, us 10 seconds, I will say, at the pit stop.
One for a pit lane infringement under the safety car, another for impeding on entry. The decisions came fast, but the reasoning felt thin. Sainz erupted over team radio, calling it a complete joke, a phrase that instantly caught fire across social media. Fans compared it to past races where identical moves went unpunished, and pundits began questioning whether the FIA's new driving standards guidelines meant anything at all. By the end of Zandvoort, the result mattered less than the message. Drivers crave consistency. When judgment feels random, trust in the rulebook begins to crumble. Silverstone turned frustration into heartbreak. Oscar Piastri had been in control. Fast, clean, untouchable. Then came the steward's message: a 10-second time penalty for erratic braking behind the safety car. McLaren's radio went silent for a beat. Piastri served the penalty at his stop, fought back hard, and still crossed the line second. But what had looked like a statement win was gone before the flag even waved. Analysts pointed out that similar safety car incidents in past races had earned nothing more than warnings. Headlines called it out of step, and McLaren's tone was weary rather than angry. They wanted consistency, not pity. At Formula One's home race, a single judgment call had rewritten the story. And for a championship balanced on a knife's edge, Silverstone became proof that even the clearest victories can fade inside the FIA's shifting grey zones. That uncertainty had already flared the season before in Austin. At the 2024 US Grand Prix, a fierce duel between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris lit up the circuit of the Americas.
This is brave from Lando Norris trying to go around the outside. Max Verstappen barges it.
Then reignited the argument over what counts as fair racing. Verstappen forced Norris wide while defending. Norris later reclaimed the spot but was hit with a penalty. Fans exploded over the contradiction. Drivers pointed to identical moves from earlier races that drew no sanctions, and social media erupted with side-by-side comparisons. Analysts traced it to shifting interpretations of the lever car's width rule, and the FIA's track limits tweaks that never fully stuck. Austin became a reference point, the race everyone now recalls when judgment feels shaped by whoever's wearing the steward's badge. By mid-2025, Carlos Sainz was leading a different kind of charge, calling for full-time professional stewards. He and McLaren's Zach Brown argued Formula One deserves consistency backed by training, not rotation. Their reasoning was simple. The rulebook can only work if those applying it speak the same language every single weekend. If inconsistent stewarding caused confusion on track, the next storm erupted off it. By early 2025, the FIA turned its focus from driving to diction, rolling out new misconduct rules that punished offensive words and profanity. Overnight, the paddock's frustration boiled into laughter. Drivers saw an organization policing language while its own decisions still baffled them. The backlash came fast. Verstappen's clipped remark, "I cannot share my opinion, it might get penalized," became the quote of the season. Fans flooded timelines mocking a rulebook that fined words faster than it judged races. Within months, the FIA softened the policy, halving penalties and backtracking on tone. It was an admission few needed explained. Silencing emotion only amplified the sport's discontent. Months before the language fiasco, the frustration had already surfaced in writing. On November 7, 2024, the Grand Prix Drivers Association, led by George Russell, sent an open letter to the FIA with a simple demand: treat us like adults. It challenged jewelry and underwear checks, mocked the growing pettiness, and urged focus on racing integrity and safety. ESPN published excerpts that spread fast across paddocks. The tone was calm but defiant, a collective eye roll from the grid. That letter became the quiet spark of unity, a warning that if leadership ignored respect, the drivers would start demanding it in louder ways. That frustration soon spread from the cockpit to the pit wall. McLaren became the loudest voice demanding structure. Andrea Stella called for penalties that could be traced, reviewed, and proven consistent through video and published rules. Zak Brown pushed the case for professional stewards to enforce them. Their message echoed through the paddock. Transparency isn't talk. It's a system that delivers the same verdict no matter who's watching. But outside the paddock, the verdict had already been reached. Fans were losing patience. Fan backlash exploded first. Social media lit up with side-by-side replays, stopwatch breakdowns, and angry Reddit threads comparing every inconsistency from Zandvoort to Silverstone. Each new penalty felt like proof of a deeper bias. Viewers weren't just upset, they were exhausted. Every delay, every grey area call convinced them the FIA had become the story instead of the steward. Then, the media firestorm hit. Pundits like Martin Brundle and Karin Chandok dissected the Jeddah delay, questioning how guidelines could still breed chaos. Meanwhile, Reuters and The Guardian chronicled deeper cracks. Internal investigations, rule changes that strengthened the presidency, and elections without rivals. The tone shifted from criticism to concern. Formula One's audience had never been larger, yet its referee stood on trial in public opinion. And that public skepticism traces back to one race, the night everything changed. Abu Dhabi 2021 was the breaking point. A single decision under the lights rewrote the outcome of a world championship. The safety car procedure, the selective unlapping, the final lap sprint, all captured in a few unforgettable minutes that tore the rulebook apart. The FIA's own report called it human error. Yet that phrase only deepened the wound. Every fan, every driver since, has looked at race control through that lens.
This has been manipulated, man.
Hamilton's radio, "This has been manipulated, man," became the line that defined modern Formula One. Abu Dhabi wasn't just a controversy, it was the moment faith in governance fractured. But the pattern runs deeper. Spygate in 2007, when McLaren paid a record fine for Ferrari secrets. Crashgate in 2008, when Renault staged a deliberate wreck. Even 1994, when Schumacher's Black Flag saga spiraled into chaos. Every era left the same scar. Politics first, clarity second. From Adelaide 94 to Abu Dhabi 21, the FIA reforms, rewrites, and apologizes, yet the same doubt lingers. Who truly governs Formula One's truth? That question echoed louder in 2025 than at any point since Abu Dhabi. Inside the FIA itself, the structure began to crack. In April, Deputy President Robert Reid resigned, citing a breakdown in standards. It was a public split with Mohammed Ben Sulayem, whose leadership had already weathered ethics investigations over alleged interference in 2023. The stories from Reuters and Sky painted a picture of growing distrust within the organization, meant to define fairness for everyone else. Then came the election saga. Carlos Sainz Sr., once seen as a reform candidate, stepped aside, calling the system not ideal. Months later, American Tim Mayer abandoned his own challenge, claiming the statutes made real opposition impossible. The result, an uncontested re-election, underscored the perception of control at the top. To the outside world, it looked like accountability vanishing in real time. Resignations, cleared probes, and quiet elections combined into one image. A governing body tangled in its own politics. And for drivers and teams already questioning stewarding integrity, it confirmed a growing belief. Formula One's fairness problem starts from within. So, what do you think? Can the FIA ever regain the trust it's lost? Or is Formula One doomed to repeat the same chaos every season? Tell us below. And while you're here, subscribe for more stories the FIA wouldn't want you to hear.